Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for attending this blockchain revolution session. And it's definitely next gen when it comes to our guests around this table this morning, because the first use of blockchain, of course, in the music and content industry was mainly for right management purposes. But now many other ways to benefit from the specificities of the blockchain technology are definitely emerging, just because blockchain offers a decentralized system where we can connect to each other without the need of a third party. So, will the year 2020 be the decade of blockchain entertainment? Well, we're about to find out with three amazing guests. Ashley Turing, the CEO of LiveTree ADEPT, Adrian Garelik, the CEO of Flixxo, and Amorette Jones, the CEO of TREETI. We're definitely going to deep dive into the specificity of blockchain in a few seconds, but first, I would like to understand better the way you do impact on the blockchain as an ecosystem itself and on the content industry. So, Amorette, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, good morning, everyone. It's just such a pleasure to be here and to see such interest in blockchain and the impact on entertainment. And it's such an exciting day and time to walk the grounds here and see how incredible the content is, and that we know that we've got a new system and a peer-to-peer network that we can use, and that we can put this content on the blockchain so that we can connect consumers and content creators directly, so that we can bring value back to content, that we can allow consumers to become involved with content in a new way, and all the things that surround content. So it's not just a passive way of viewing anymore, but it's a way of getting involved, and it's a way of capturing that magical moment, whether it's that kind of pushing behind the curtain and getting involved in casting, and getting involved in the excitement of promotion, and allowing consumers to promote content. And for the first time, it's not just allowing for deals to be made, but letting consumers really get behind the promotion of. So it's a very exciting time.
And you just announced the launch of a really interesting platform, which is TREETI. Mm-hmm. What about we watch it, and then we'll deep dive onto it?
What's that?
What about we watch it first?
Yes,
and
sure,
then we'll
absolutely.
Deep dive
Yeah,
onto
fantastic.
It. Let's watch it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I had a great idea.
What if there was a better deal for independent filmmakers that lets you keep more revenue and connect directly with audiences? How? Blockchain is entertainment's future. You might have heard this intimidating word. It's the technology used in the buzzy currency, Bitcoin. But blockchain is so much more than money. It can distribute movies too.
Are you kidding me?
Introducing TREETI, the first blockchain platform built exclusively for entertainment. And it's bigger and faster than any blockchain out there.
Imagine 91 billion light years traveled like that.
What does that mean for you? It means there's an alternative to the streamers you know.
These folks don't need to stop doing what they're doing. They just need to get better at it. Who's stealing? Who's it?
And we're in a category all by ourselves. Unlike those platforms, TREETI offers better discoverability, built-in crowdfunding, instant payment and revenue sharing, ownership of data, access to new global audiences.
Oh, it's perfect.
Love it.
In sum, a more direct and soulful engagement with fans, based on trust. We are at the precipice of Internet 2.0.
The world can't stop us.
Seize your creative destiny. Join the Internet of Value. TREETI, a new deal for creators.
Let's go, come on.
It's definitely a mashup tone, which is so great and so suiting the entertainment industry, of course. Let's move on to Flixxo with you, Adrian, though. I've heard they said that decentralized YouTube. Why? How?
Yes. Bonjour, everybody. It's awesome to be here. Decentralized is like an intimidating word. I think decentralized is like, nobody understands what decentralizing means. So for the final user, what we are building here is a peer-to-peer network, which is distribute distribution channel for content. It's like today, all the content is relying on 3 platforms. It's on Google, Facebook, or Amazon. Even Netflix runs on top of Amazon. So the only way of fighting against them, building a new ecosystem for distributing content, is distributing the distribution of content, is leaning on the final user in order to serve as a host of content. That's what we are creating here. We are using blockchain as a way of creating an incentive for those users to lend us their storage and bandwidth. Basically, that's Flixxo.
So do we have a video to learn more about it?
Hope so.
We hope we do. OK, let's check it.
On social networks such as Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, there is value that is transferred between users called like. Whether it's a picture of your dog, a poem, or a short video, for every contribution to the community, likes are expected as a recognition for a good job. And they become an incentive for creating new content. But as there are an unlimited supply of likes, no one ever ran out of them. Likes have no actual value, and users give away likes to low-quality content. What if we can create scarcity value on likes by turning them into a freely transferable, tradable token with a limited issuance? What would happen if we transformed likes into like coins? On one hand, you would have to think twice before handing out your tokens in exchange of low-quality contributions, because your stock of Litecoin is limited. On the other hand, you would be able to give away as many Litecoins as you wish on certain content that you've really enjoyed. You could earn your Litecoins back, but this would mean that you should have actually contributed to the social network. Today, all social networks are turning to video as the dominant resource for engaging users on their platforms, but video still relies upon huge costs on storage and bandwidth. By using a token such as Litecoin, called Flixxo users are engaged in helping improve video distribution network by lending their storage space and their bandwidth in exchange of tokens. Spending Flix for consuming the content they really want to watch, and earning Flix back for making the network stronger. Whether it was a smartphone, a tablet, or desktop computer, even a smart TV, Flixxo smartly uses any device connected to the internet, turning it into a part of a decentralized, incentivized, peer-to-peer network that has no structural costs and unlimited scaling possibilities.
Voila.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's definitely another model application for blockchain. But let's dive into the model of LiveTree with you, Ashley. And again, the fact that you're putting the technology at first, but for the sake of content creation.
Yeah, that's right. So we're an existing company. We've been around for 2 years, a little over 2 years, and we specialized in crowdfunding. So many of you may know Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So we started off with a crowdfunding platform based on fiat currency, US dollar, pounds. And we set it up to address one of the biggest challenges with crowdfunding, and that is marketing. So you as a project creator need to handle all the marketing. It's actually a lot of work to run a crowdfunding campaign. So we thought, how can we add advertising into our model? And we set about partnering with a lot of non-profits, the BFI, Future Film, Red Rock Entertainment, also a number of different charities. So as you raise money, you can give back to an organization, and you could also give back to influencers and affiliates. So this built an ecosystem around the project as we were raising funds. And we specifically focused on film, television, and content, and we've been working really hard to build out our partnerships. We have close to about 10,000 suppliers in our directory now. And we started thinking about what is the next evolution of crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is good for up to about £10,000, but in serious productions, obviously, you need a lot more budget. So we started thinking about how could we use the blockchain to bring about new types of financial offerings and different types of models. But let's run a show reel. You can see some of the projects that we've worked with to date.
Absolutely. Let's watch it. Okay, now I just want to go back to the basics of what blockchain is for a quick second. We already talked about the fact that blockchain is definitely a decentralized model, but if you had one takeaway to get like from these 30 minutes on blockchain and the blockchain revolution, it's definitely this. Decentralization is key, right?
Yes, decentralization is key. I mean, I think what's one of the I guess one of the notions, and I think you'll realize blockchain has become incredibly popular these days, so everyone's utilizing the term in multiple different ways. What we're specifically using it for are transactions. We are using it so that transactions can be verified, they're immutable, so that it is it's a proven method where you can verify that a transaction, if it's either a financial transaction or say somebody posts a review or something like that, that it's virtually a non-hackable or a a system that cannot be broken by because it doesn't go through a centralized group. So you've got many different verifications that have to happen as it goes across various nodes. So that's the notion behind it.
So the other notions behind this decentralization model is also definitely about trust and transparency, actually, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we should also put into context where we are with blockchain technology. We're currently in what's called generation 3 of the technology, but we're still at very rudimentary stage of what the technology can actually do. The promise of the technology is great, and the philosophy behind it is one of the main reasons we started to dive into it. This is the first time in human history that we've been able to make a transaction with someone without the need of a third party, and that's a really exciting part of the DNA of the technology itself. But looking at the practicalities of it, and we stayed blockchain agnostic, so that means you as an end user of our platform can choose which blockchain you go onto, because we recognize that the technology is changing, and it's changing at a rapid rate, and we wanted to stay agnostic to how the technology evolves, but still bring the benefits. So let's think about what are those benefits. And trust and transparency is a key part of that process. But transparency is in giving value into the creation process. Adding new types of financial models are the true value that blockchain technology can present today. And they all evolve to decentralized storage and decentralized processing.
Security.
And also.
Security is a huge issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think as we're going into and what's happening in real time now, and I think as we see, Zuckerberg, he's going in front of the Senate, I think tomorrow, finally, to have a few things to say about what's happened with 85 million people and their data. Yeah,
so there's definitely a trilogy when it comes to blockchain between decentralization, transparency, trust, which would be like the same couple, and security, right, Adrian?
Yeah, but I need to think, everybody needs to think as the key word here is value. You can transfer, using blockchain, you can transfer something that is unique digitally without the need of a third party. It's like in the Internet of Information that we are used to. When you send something to someone, you are sending a copy of something that you have on your computer. So if you send a photograph or a video, you are sending a copy of this. With blockchain, you can send something that is unique. Once you have sent it, you don't own it anymore. You don't have it anymore. That's the key of blockchain. It can be a value, it can be a coin, it can be the rights of something, it can be identity. Once, if you have it, you are. If you don't have it, you are not. That's the key of blockchain, uniqueness.
So actually, could blockchain-based services sound the death knell of mainstream streaming services or centralized services such as Netflix, Hulu, Amazon?
So fundamentally, it boils down to content. So content is what's going to drive audiences, and audiences is what's going to drive these platforms to succeed. So without the right content, you're still going to struggle with audiences. But what the technology offers is a different type of approach to the types of programs that we can create, and also how we realize and return value from those rights or royalties behind the programs. So we're introducing a different model. The adoption of that model, we firmly believe, is still with the audience and with the quality of the content on the platform. So it still boils down to those key creatives that can engage audiences and bring audiences to the platform.
So again, if we come back to this idea that blockchain is a unique and traceable chain of command where you're going to see everything that's happening from the very first person who actually engage in the transaction with the other person who is going to get the transaction in the end. We have several different things that blockchain can disrupt. Name it: distribution, payments, content creation, right management, and data, of course. Let's take, for instance, distribution first. New channels could emerge, though, if I'm taking one blockchain. Could be one channel, as many blockchain, as many different channels. So. New channels could emerge, set up by anyone and joined by any content creators. Is that one of the ideas of this new decentralized distribution? Amorette?
For us, you know, we developed our blockchain, and we're the first blockchain that was specifically developed for content and for entertainment. And we developed that blockchain about 3 years ago. So we run on our own. We don't run on Ethereum or a third-party blockchain, which is a unique difference between us and some others. So we are, you know, it's important to us that we curate really valuable content, because it's, you know, it's not about, you know, a 2-minute dog video or somebody shot or something like that. I mean, that's really the YouTube model, and we're not big believers in that. We are big believers in giving valuable creatives and content owners a distribution platform where they are able to secure value for their content, and that means, you know, that means addressing everything in the cost to consumers. So, you know, addressing the subscription model, which is a model that's devalued content, and it means also addressing what consumers feel, you know, what's the value of a movie. I don't know that we can go back and tell people, now that you're used to paying $10 and having access to every movie on the planet, or in Spotify's case, every single song on the planet, how do we then create an experience that's beyond just the singular movie, and it becomes about the experience in general, and that's what I was talking about earlier. So it's access to pushing the curtain back on Hollywood, getting that direct access to a filmmaker. You know, it means it almost is like creating a festival atmosphere where you have, in this great situation, the opportunity to hear speakers on a panel address things that are pertinent to the entertainment industry, so that you're there, and that it's an incredible experience for many people who want to have that kind of, that's incredible value to them, where it's not a passive experience, but a very, that it's a dialogue and it's a two-way experience, and blockchain can do that.
So it's definitely about the user experience and more engagement with unique audiences.
That's right.
Adrian, I mean, your Flixxo model sounds to me a lot like a community that you're addressing, and really looking at audiences as niche markets.
No, it's not for niche markets. We are building community for people engaged with content. It's not for, they can build a community around certain content or around all the content. I want to say something, because there is a myth. There is no way that you can put content inside the blockchain.
Right. Of course.
No, the content is not in the blockchain. The content is somewhere else. The blockchain could point you to that content.
Yeah, actually the blockchain is the backbone. Yes. On which you're going to engage with the content, with the payment, the transaction, or the distribution of it.
Yes.
That's right.
So we are using blockchain as a way of creating incentives for making communities surrounding content. I've heard of YouTubers saying that they are building beautiful houses on top of a land they have rented from someone else. So once they decide to leave the platform, they are leaving their followers within the platform. So I think we need to create an environment in which they can own the land in which they are building their houses. And their land is their communities. So if you can build on top of your community, you are the owner of the content. You are the owner of the relationship between you and the community. So that's what we are trying to push.
Which come back to the idea there is no gatekeepers anymore, right, Ashley? And you've been really closely studying the distribution model for blockchain. So I'd like really to hear you on the way it totally changes the industry.
Yeah, so I'm a firm. We've got quite a different approach from our colleagues in the sense that we don't believe that the industry is going to change overnight, and we believe that we need to provide an industry solution that's going to meet and scale to content creators today. So, when it came to looking at building our own blockchain, we did look at that, but we said, we're not a blockchain development company. We don't want to go and build Ethereum. That's a huge project. When it came to looking at YouTube, we said, okay, well, actually, YouTube has got a lot of audience. So how can we empower creators to put some trailers on there or put their sizzles to engage and bring people to our platform? How could we engage with all of these different, where the audience is, and bring them to a new type of thinking and a new type of blockchain distribution? With that said, our underlying marketplace still connects with traditional broadcasters to facilitate the sale of content. And we've been really looking at the data to put valuations on your particular projects and utilizing the blockchain sporadically and where it's needed, where it's best applied. So I think our approach has been a bit more, perhaps a little bit more pragmatic in our view of how the industry will change and adapt. We don't believe that it's going to happen overnight, and we think we need to provide an industry solution and work with the industry to realize the full potential of the technology.
So that's definitely about distribution and, of course, payments and transactions. But I'd really like to know a little bit more about how blockchain can totally empower the democratization of pure content creation. Again, the content is not on the blockchain, but how can we use tokens and blockchains to actually empower content creation, Amorette?
Sure. Yeah, I started in entertainment now it's 26 years ago. So I've been, movies have been in my entire, career life. So I've been at most of the big studios and also in independent film, also in independent music, and also in premium cable. So in most of my contemporaries are now either running marketing or distribution or production or in some way involved in studio or premium cable or what have you. So which is a huge blessing for our company. So we've got, sort of the best in tech, and then we've got great access and the best in entertainment. And so we've got this perfect marriage where we're able to have these incredible conversations, not just among us, but with the folks that are making movies and the folks that are making the decisions at the top levels, of the top studio levels. And I will tell you, there is a desire, not just a desire, but it's a need to change things and to make those changes and to try new things now. And, the studios are the very sort of the last door to change. And so, we have really taken the independent picture approach, and it's important that we give independent creators and independent films, and that's why we've got our partnerships with the Independent Film Project and with Film Independent, and we're doing some really exciting things, around the world. And we had our director's series and did some great stuff, but so that we're able to give those content creators the opportunity to not only participate with us to raise more money, but to raise the level of awareness and to increase the reach of their audience and to speak directly to their fans. It's also for us to go around the world and to give voice to emerging voices. We're going into 6 markets around the world for film festivals, and again, it's about giving emerging filmmakers and the voice to create a fanship and utilizing the blockchain to promote their movie and their stories and giving us the opportunity to see them and to hear them. And so it's really about discoverability and using the data delivered by the blockchain to understand what a consumer is interested in, what they need, and and in real time. I mean, this is happening like this. So this is extraordinarily interesting to the world of Hollywood, both on the independent side and on the big studio side.
So it's definitely putting creators at core of the process of creation, production, and distribution and engagement with the fans. But that gives me a perfect follow-up, though, on the data issue, because it's crucial when it comes to the blockchain. And actually, the main idea here is that when you're working for Netflix, for instance, or Amazon, slightly different, but though, they won't share the data with you, either you're a producer or content creator, even user. I'm giving them my data, they're not giving me anyone. Although recommendation algorithm, of course, but that's another story. Actually, with the blockchain, we can change it.
Look, I think we can definitely add some transparency to the process. The blockchain is not going to solve. Data and information is the most valuable commodity we have as human beings, right? And my background, I've worked in AI, and these companies such as Netflix use algorithms to rate and show certain content that makes them the most value. So our approach to AI has been to look at the models that are driving the AI and expose them open source. So you have an exposure over how your data is being used within the platform, but still realizing the value of AI. So it's a change in philosophy as to how we use the technology. When it comes to the
the fans or supporters, the audience, I mean, we're everything at the same time. Users, audiences, fans, citizens, name it.
I think producer's story is probably one quite different from the fan. And I think the fan engagement is great, but it's a small part of validating the underlying project. And using that validation, you can then have a stronger case to present to the broadcasters or to negotiate a deal. So I think it's about using the data that's there in an intelligent way to support you as a producer to secure IP and get the best deal.
And again, just to set the record wholly transparent, as also on the blockchain, do you store data on blockchain, Adrian? Or Ashley, maybe first?
We are building a model in which the users decide which kind of personal information they are going to share. Because they are monetizing from advertising. Advertisers pay to the users in tokens so the users can watch content.
Okay. So
they can decide which kind of information to give to the advertiser. The more information, the more the advertisers are going to pay them for their information. But it's on you. Your information is yours, and it's yours the right to monetize your information. This is transparent, totally transparent. Yes, it's set on the blockchain.
Okay. Ashley?
So the technology isn't there to store large video terabytes of data on blockchains. We are working with a few partners who are building out potential solutions, and that's a really exciting area because, like my colleague says, when you start to move away, I mean, Amazon make most of their money through what's called Amazon Web Services. It's their data and processing, their cloud infrastructure. Now, if you have if you have an ability to decentralize that, you're also not just changing the business models behind content, but you're changing the infrastructure as to how it runs.
Amorette.
Yes, it's data is as my colleagues have said is a very exciting part, and it's growing piece of it. And I think, again, talking about revaluing, and you know, we've had some focus groups where it's really, we've gotten so much intriguing information from consumers and how they value their data, or how they don't value their data, and how they're willing to just give their, you know, it's like, I don't care as long as they tell me what cool tennis shoe I can buy. Take it away, take whatever away. So, you know, there are some intriguing ways of working, and again, we're working with partners as well that will help to refine that. But it is very transparent with ultimately with the consumer and with the user of what they in fact do want to participate in allowing their data to be shared or not shared.
Okay, time's gone by on this stage, but if we had just one takeaway to get from, again, this session, what would be for you? One keyword for you, Amorette.
That with blockchain, don't believe all of the hype. I mean, there's so much out there that there are many companies that are utilizing the word simply to, you know, build an ICO or whatever, and the blockchain is an incredibly valuable technology tool that is going to change the way that that the world does business, and it's going to change the face of the entertainment industry. It's not unlike where I feel like I'm in Back to the Future, where things were in 1999 when I was promoting Blair Witch Project. We're back here again, and it is going to have that same power. So we're in a fantastic place, and it's exciting, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. One word with you, Adrian.
We are moving from the internet of information to the internet of value. It's a unique opportunity, it's a unique moment, but you need to play. We need to have also an empirical approach, because we are going to screw up the things.
Don't screw up my data, please.
Yes, we need to learn.
Not with mine. Ashley, final word with you.
So the blockchain is here to stay. It's not going away. It's going to evolve, and it's going to become a part of every part of our lives, much like how the internet has weaved itself into our daily functions. It's inevitable how the impact of it will lead to decentralization, and decentralization is really the essence and the philosophy that will really drive this technology forward.
Thank you very much for your perspective and insights. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.